It seems like criminal trials are not the only thing that will pose a challenge to Donald Trump's presidential bid. A media poll reveals that there is a third-party vote that is eating into the Republican leader's share. Let's take a look at where the vote share stands in the case of a multi-way battle that involves more than two leaders as a choice for voters. Joe Biden leads with 39%, then Trump comes in second at 37%. Then we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with 13%. We have Jill Stein with 3%. We have Cornel West with 2%. And 6% of those who voted here are not sure. Now, coming to the important part. Why are we saying that Kennedy is eating into Trump's share of voter support as compared to a head-to-head matchup between Biden and Trump? A greater share of Trump voters have backed Kennedy in the expanded multi-way ballot. So when asked who will they support in case of a multi-way contest, 7% of Biden supporters deflected to Kennedy Jr. However, in Trump's case, 15% of his supporters deflected to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is twice as much as movement as compared to the incumbent president. And so the question arising here is, can a third candidate have Trump's bid to become president more than his criminal trial? Let's talk more about this. And Ray Locker is a senior journalist. He is also an author and also a columnist. Mr. Locker is joining us live from Utah. Mr. Locker, welcome to Race to Power, and it's good to see you. Quick question. Kennedy Jr., is he going to scuttle the results or even the election in 2024?
I don't really think so. I think he will gain some voters, but usually with third-party candidates, with the possible exception of Ross Perot in 1992. They tend to fade as the campaign goes on because they don't have enough money, they don't receive as much exposure, and the focus turns toward the main two candidates. And I anticipate that's what's going to happen here.
Mr. Locker, how are Americans in general viewing these cases that Donald Trump is facing? Because as we can see from January or even February, his popularity ratings has somewhat dipped. And we've seen that Biden's popularity rating is somewhat increasing. What can you say about Americans' view on Donald Trump's cases?
Well, I think they're having an effect. I mean, really, Trump has not been that visible since he left the White House. He does events, he's on social media, but he's not really on Twitter. He's not really on the main social media platforms. The news media don't really cover his campaign events. And now he's coming back into the public eye in a way that most people can't escape. And it's through these trials. And they're devastating. I mean, last week we saw him falling asleep in court a couple of times. That's embarrassing, particularly since he calls Joe Biden Sleepy Joe. And now you're going to have a parade of prosecution witnesses who say that he broke the law. And that starts today. And that's never a good thing for a presidential candidate.
Mr. Locker, what is that one thing that Joe Biden can and should do in order to become victorious in these 2024 elections?
I think he needs to focus on the economy, continue to work to get inflation down. That's been a problem for him. But really, the U.S. economy since the COVID-19 pandemic is the strongest in the world. I think he needs to keep emphasizing that, go to places where his laws have taken effect and are helping people, like where the Infrastructure Act is working, the Inflation Reduction Act. He's got to keep telling his story, and I think that's what's going to help him.
All right, senior journalist Ray Locker, thank you very much for talking to us on WION World is One.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.